When they reached the playground, she felt the other women's jealous eyes on her daughter. Miss Polly kneeled in front of her and held her hands in hers. Now remember, no getting dirty in there. You're wearing your prettiest dress. Pretty girls don't get dirty. Don't you forget that, my child. But the other children. You're not like those other children, sweetheart. You're very special. Someday the entire world is going to admire your beauty, and when they do, you'll be prepared for it. Let them look at you, but don't let them get too close. But how am I going to play if I can't get dirty or get close to the other kids? Her daughter said with a petulant whine. No, pretty girls don't whine either, my lovely, or frown for that matter. And don't crinkle your nose like that. It's not becoming. You'll end up getting wrinkles at an early age. Remember, it's all about keeping up appearances, baby doll. Now go. Miss Polly drew in a satisfied breath and looked on as her daughter walked towards the playground in her ballerina shoes, taking small feminine steps just like she had taught her to. Chapter 2. April 2013. This book is based on events that happened to me and my family last year. It is the true story of those events in my own words. I looked down at the cover of my book, Itsy Bitsy Spider, then out on the crowd gathered in front of me. All eyes were on me, expecting me to entertain them, explain to them what really happened, and if it really could be true. That was the question I got the most at these book signings. People found it hard to believe that all this really had taken place, that all this could have happened to one person, one family. But it did. None of us had forgotten what happened only 6 months ago when we were almost killed by Fanoe Island's first serial killer, and now I had written a book about it. Only a month after it had hit the stores, it had become a national bestseller, much to my surprise. Everybody loved the story, and even if the critics hated it, I was selling a lot of books around the country. I opened the front cover and started reading out loud. I had been all over the country in the last month doing book signings, but this was a special one for me. This took place at the local bookstore in downtown Nordbo, the town that had become my hometown after my grandmother died and left me her house. I started reading out loud, thinking about my dad who had promised me he would come to hear me today but hadn't arrived just yet, much to my disappointment. Well, he knew the story the book was based on a little too well, so maybe he would peek in later. I spotted my son Victor and my daughter Maya in the crowd. Victor didn't seem to enjoy being in the crowd too much. He suffered from a form of light autism that the doctors couldn't quite place or put a diagnosis on, but being in a crowd was among the things he didn't cope with too well. My daughter Maya didn't look too pleased either. On our way down here, she had explained to me that she found it so embarrassing that her mom was on a poster outside the bookstore, and even worse that I was going to be talking about our family and what had happened. She hated the fact that I had written a book with her in it, and even more that everybody in the country seemed to have read it. "It's so embarrassing, Mom," she had told me when I told her what the book was about. "Everybody is going to know all kinds of stupid things about us." "Why exactly do you feel the need to tell them all these things about our family?" "Because I'm a writer, that's why. It's a great story, and I need to tell it." I had changed the names, but still she had never forgiven me for writing it. Not even when I told her that with the advance we got I would be able to buy her a new iPad. She had never been easy to bribe, unfortunately for me. I read out loud from the first chapter of the book that I was so proud of. I glanced up at the audience in between paragraphs. As I did, I spotted Jack, one of my neighbors from across the road, and couldn't help but smile seeing him in the crowd. My friend Sophia, who also lived across the road from me, was standing next to him, trying hard to hear me read while 2 of her kids pulled her arms. She was carrying her newborn in a sling on her front. She looked exhausted, but smiled anyway, which I thought was quite the accomplishment, having 6